everyone, and welcome back to my channel. My name is Phyllis, and here on my channel I share DIYs, home decor, Goodwill, thrift hauls, and more. And if this is your first time stopping by, thank you, and please consider subscribing. If you like what you see, give it a thumbs up, and I would love to read your comments. And don't forget to share this video with your friends and family. This is video number 2 of a 3-part series on oven maintenance and cleaning. This screenshot is of part 1, where I removed the oven door front to get to the glass to do deep cleaning. If you're interested in seeing this, I will leave a link in the description box below. What's coming up now is how I showed a full cleaning of the top and the oven surround. If you're interested in seeing the process, then just keep watching. Now here I pulled out the oven from the wall and I lifted up the lid. I wanted to get behind the oven to clean and sweep out the floor. I didn't show that process because, again, this is just showing how I clean the outside of the oven and on top of the oven. I'm just showing you a picture of what it looks like before I get started on the cleaning. On both sides, there was a lot of dripping of the grease. Here you can't see it too much because I think I've already started there. Inside there, I'll be cleaning that out. That footage I lost, but you'll see that it's clean. Here, all I'm using on this oven is Awesome. I made a sink of bleached water, and then I spray the Awesome directly on the outside of the oven on both sides and on the top. Now this is the oven door front, and you'll see all the grease and the grime. If you can look, this is where the little sticking up part there and at the other end, that's where the 3 screws. So that's the bottom of the oven door front. And what you saw me pouring on there was vinegar on top of the baking soda that activated and loosened up the grease. And all I'm doing is taking the back of this sponge and just simply wiping. I didn't have to do any kind of scrubbing. I let it sit just for a few seconds and I wiped it and rinsed it. And this is the rubber part that holds in the frosted glass. What I discovered when I put the door back on is that I put the rubber part upside down, but it's still held in the glass. So this part is cleaned, and this is the part that holds the this part right here is the part that the frosted glass sits in. There was grease in there too, so I'm just scrubbing the grease out of the nooks and the crannies and the crevices. And then the other piece that I'll be showing, this part here is the part that actually holds the glass, the clear glass that had all the grease on it. So I'm just scrubbing the grease from around there, and the little white cotton part that you see, I don't get that wet. I just wipe around all of the other areas. I didn't pull the cotton off until I started putting it back onto the stove because it wouldn't sit firmly by itself. So I pulled it off and I ended up just pressing it onto the door, and I'll explain that. And here I've already cleaned the under lid of the oven, and I'm showing you the top. I still have to excuse all of the notifications. I didn't figure out how to turn off my notifications, but I still have to clean out the inside, this top part. But I'm just showing you that I cleaned at the top. I'm pulling the knobs off as well because those had grease, so I can clean behind the knobs and clean the knobs themselves. I'm just putting Dawn dishwashing liquid. I sprinkled some baking soda, and I also poured some vinegar, and you see it fizzing up there. I ended up washing those as well. And here you see I have finally cleaned the inside under the lid. I cleaned the under the lid and then the inside there where it had all the cake stuff up on the inside. The oven will be getting clean the next day, the inside of the oven. But I'm just showing here that I've completed the entire outside cleaning outside of the stove. Now those 4 things, of course, you know, those are the electrical pieces that these iron lids go in. These here, I'm just going to clean them up. I was going to cover them with aluminum foil, But I'm just going to put some baking soda and vinegar on it, let it sit and scrub it and get it clean as possible until she buys some new ones. I'm just basically, this video was prompt only to show that the front door can be removed to get to the glass. So from that, I couldn't stop there. I just decided to clean the entire stove, the outside and the inside. So we're just going to keep those on there. I'm going to clean them until she buys some new ones. So here I'm just letting this down, or I'm putting the little electrical pieces back in their places. There's a little click part that they go to, and I'm pushing the oven back up against the wall. I think I've already, well, I did not plug the oven up because I want to keep it off so that I can put some Easy Off in the oven and let it sit all night, and I'm going to clean it out the next day. But here I'm just wiping it off and putting the knobs back on. Okay, now I'm putting the oven door front back together. I would have explained this entire process, but it was so long till I had to actually shorten it and speed it up. But basically, I'm just putting it back together. And what helped me remember is the video that I did in the first video, if that makes sense. I was able to use the process of taking it apart and just going backwards. And that's how I was able to remember how to put this back together. I looked at that video, and basically the way that I took it off, I just did those steps backwards. And that's what helped me remember how to put the stove, the front door, back together again. If some of you are interested in seeing a process only of removing the door and putting it back together, just leave a comment for me in the description box or in the comment section. I know sometimes when I need to learn how to do things, whether it's electrical, which I don't do too much, or plumbing, how to change out the plumbing part of a toilet or the sink, or even something like this, I go to YouTube for a tutorial. So if it's helpful for you to have a step-by-step to see the process of taking the door front off and putting it back on, just leave a comment and I'll do a separate video step by step. I just didn't do it in this one because it would have made this video too long. It's already long. I just didn't want to make it extra long. Look at the glass. This is the frosted part of it. And then the glass, that's the stove, that's the door, but no, this is the glass. So you can see my foot. Well, because of the frost, you wouldn't have been able to see that. I should have did a video of that before. But this is the glass, all cleaned. Now the oven, like I said, I unplugged it. I didn't plug it back up because I'm going to spray it and let it sit all night. And I'm going to clean this tomorrow. But this video started because of the door. Because of the video showing that you can take the door off and clean your glass. I cleaned it up in here too, but this is, over time yellows because of the heat and the grease and stuff that falls in. And yeah, could have did some more cleaning on that too. But I cleaned the sides of the stove. I cleaned up under this lid. Cleaned the top. I pulled the stove out and swept behind there. I cleaned on both sides. But again, the main focus was on the glass. And I put it back together. So everything is back the way it was. The 2 screws are up there. The other 3 screws. And all this was put back in. I think the only thing that I did different and didn't realize until I put it together. If you see this split here, that's the rubber piece. I think this was up at the top. So when I took it off to clean it, I put it back on upside down, but it's in there to protect this here for it to lay on. But other than that, I accomplished what I set out to do. So like I said, she's gonna buy some new plates, drip pans to go in there. But in the meantime, I'm going to do the old school way. Some people might call it ghetto way. Whichever way, it's going to look better than what it looks like now. This is what it looks like now. And I am not putting that back on that work that I did. Now I will clean it, but it's still going to get covered with some aluminum foil until she buys her own drip pans. And these are the little heating elements that goes inside. And again, I started this around noon and it's 4:30, well 4:33 now, but I was done just maybe a few minutes before I put this video on. Okay. Thank you so much for watching. JRC Restoration, Decor, and Designs. And remember, the distance between your dreams and reality is called action. So until next time, make it a blessed and productive day, everyone.